Welcome to Sixx's Word on the Curve, sponsored by LMT.
What we're not doing is shutting down the curve. This is how we get the news. This is how we get the 411, the tea. What's up, my curvesters? We are in the building. Oh my God, everybody is here. We got everything going together. Let's see who's all in the building. We got Shawn on deck. We got JaRonn. And we got Dr. J and Joy on deck for this panel discussion. You guys, let me tell y'all something. I've been waiting all day for this because we finally get some inside scoop on what happened prior to the death of Bobbi Kristina, which is Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston's daughter. Now, make sure you tag all your friends, let them know we live. And then I'm going to get on over here to this chat, see who we got up in the piece today. Let's see. Oh, wow, everybody is in here today. Y'all wanted to get this tea. I'm telling y'all, I hope y'all watched that video, because even though I know that video was super duper long, that video gave you some tea, and I wanted y'all to be updated so that we can have this open discussion about it as well. Is everybody on deck for the panel here? I see y'all. Say hello. Okay, so let's see. We got hey, Jennifer P is in the building. Shawn on deck. Yucca, hello. Hey, Tish. We got JaRonn is on deck. Yes, I see y'all getting the taggerization going on. That's right. I was so excited when I got the notification. I spilled my snow glove tumbler. I'm making. Oh no, get that back up. We got to make this money, make this dough. Miss Ann is on deck as well. Hey, Miss Ann. Shantae, what up, though? You not on the panel today? How are you late? I don't know. You talking about? I don't know. You not late. We just getting started. Trouble T is in the building. Hey, Di. And y'all, for those of y'all who are out there on, on YouTube, our YouTube land, over there off of the podcast land, we are actually live on Facebook, and I'm saying hi to my Facebook family. Sixx's Word on the Curb. Hey, Mama Joe is in the building. Hey, Mama. And I normally go through and say my what's up to everybody while we getting everything behind the scenes situated. So long as the panel is here and we able to get this discussion popping, and then we'll be able to have this open discussion so that we'll be able to get the tea about this whole situation. So I hope everybody is well prepared for this. And y'all know, like I always say, we don't hold nothing up. This is a no holds barred conversation. Anytime we do any of our panel discussions, you bring your feelings to the table. So you might see some of us get a little bit loud if we trying to get our point across, or we might get some back and forth, but just to let you guys know, we still friends after this. Ain't no love lost. Okay, we still be up in VIP kicking it and stuff, while y'all might be thinking we over here throwing bottles and stuff, but we not. We just all very emotional people when we are standing behind what we believe. So I hope that you guys out there don't take anything that we say negatively. We're just voicing our opinion about the whole thing. I want to first start off with the discussion surrounding around Bobbi Kristina and her death. You all know we've had this open discussion before when it was Whitney, and we were reading her information about how she passed away, and her getting all of the information and stuff from the court's records and stuff like that. So JaRonn said hashtag Pat Houston is trash. Okay. She didn't change her name. Shawn, are you on that? Do y'all hear me good over there? I haven't heard nothing.
Yeah, we hear you. You
okay.
Good. I was just
Yes, you're good.
Okay, good. Joy is on that.
I was just about to message Lisa. Hold on.
I
think she want to come in, Sixx. Let me see.
Okay, she want to join the panel. Hey, Kelly, thanks for joining us. We still getting some people on deck for us. Trust me, this is going to be a really good meeting. Let her know I unlocked the door, Shawn. If she's coming in.
I'll let her know. She said she just got home. Okay, I'll tell her.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so you guys, we are really finna hash this out, okay? So I want y'all, even if y'all are in the on the curb and y'all commenting and stuff, if you feel like you want to join the panel, just let me know. Tag my name on the curb here in the chat, and I'll give you the link and stuff so you can join us if you want to have your discussion about it as well, okay? So I don't want nobody to feel like they're going to be left out, because I do try to make sure that I read all of you guys' comments, because even though we are doing it here on the curb, just keep in mind that we do open this up on YouTube and on the podcast as well. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. Hey, Lily.
Hi, ladies. Sorry I'm late.
That's
Hey,
okay.
Miss
We just getting
Talisa.
started. Thanks for joining us today. So so I just want to make sure that everybody know exactly how this goes with the whole setup. Okay, you didn't miss nothing. Lily, I was just letting everybody know if anybody in the audience want to come on and voice their opinion about what we're about to discuss, they can do that as well. Okay.
Wait, I'm in the panel or the audience?
You're on the panel, darling.
Oh my, I didn't know. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, I might not have too much of an opinion, but okay, yeah.
That's okay. This is a no hold bar panel. So you say how you feel, say it like you mean it. Ooh, ooh, shout it out. Okay. And I've already explained to everybody on here. Hopefully y'all don't take it personal or whatever, because we really do be going in and saying what we want to say. Okay. So also we did a poll, you know what I'm saying? We did a poll with Nay the LIE. So I want to make sure that you guys who have voted on that poll know that we are going to have a discussion about the so-called investment and get into that whole scenario as well. For those of you who do not know who she is, she's a makeup artist that kind of came into the picture and created a whole bunch of different stuff for investors to invest in, which was the wig line, the makeup line, and the eyelash line. Okay. And a lot of people contributed to this and have yet to see anything in regards to an investment. So we will be discussing that at a later time. And if you guys want to participate into that, let us know as well. You can inbox me or you can email me at Sixx word on the curve, SIXXWOTC @outlook.com, because we're going to have that discussion as well. And I want to let you know as that we are trying to get this out into the public, so it will be on YouTube. And once we do this on YouTube, you guys please like, share, and share, because we're trying to get some traction. It's all these scammers out here and stuff like that, like Darius Cooks and stuff like that. We're trying to get this up and out there too, to let people know, because it seems like it's about to be a whole new generation of those folks that might be lining up to get swindled as well. We're gonna, thanks to JaRonn, we got the name of it. And we're gonna release that. We're gonna say that name for a little bit later, but we're gonna release that as well. Okay. All right. All right. So let's get into this whole scenario about Bobbi Kristina and her death. Okay. So for those of you who watched the video that was released on Chronicle Speaks YouTube page, I love her. Now, if y'all don't know who Chronicle Speaks is, she was the chick that came out and blasted Kelvin Hunter and found out where he was living. Like, he had a whole nother house with Serena down the street from Wendy. And she was the one who released those documents and papers. So I want y'all to know that she is the one who did the interview with Dr. Jollie Harris. And he is the herbalist that woke Bobbi Kristina and DMX out of their coma. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. He was the herbalist doctor that came in and woke Bobbi Kristina and DMX out of their coma. Let that sink in. Okay, let that sink in. While that's sinking in, let's get some of the panel on here. What do you guys think about what you heard from Dr. Jollie Harris? Because we're going to go into the whole rendition of what took place. But what did you have? What was your overall assumption of him when you saw him and heard him speak?
I'm gonna start.
Okay.
Well, go ahead, John.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, he likes to hear himself talk.
Yeah, he is a talker.
This man
He is a
talks
talker.
like
Yeah.
the whole time. The whatever Chronicle, whoever she is, was trying to get some words in and couldn't because he was talking so damn much.
Yeah.
Well,
He is a
well, my perspective on him was that that was good that he was able. You Joy.
I'm sorry.
I knew I was glad that he was able to wake her, but the issue I had, which is the same issue that Pat Houston had. Now, normally I wouldn't agree with her, but what was going to be Kristina's quality of life if she was a paraplegic, a vegetable, she can't sing, can't talk?
Okay.
Was he going to fix all of that?
Right. All right. And we're going to get into that whole rendition because I want to kind of like give a summary of what was said in this for those who didn't take the time out to be able to listen to what was going on, because it was like almost 2 hours long. So I get it. Okay. I'm not mad at anybody who didn't. So let me just give a real summary about it. So what happened was this particular doctor was called in by Leola Brown knew him, right? Okay, so y'all already know what Leola Brown has been trying to do all of this time. Her name was mixed up in this, but it was in a good way because she was able to introduce Dr. Harris to Bobbi Kristina, to Bobbi Brown. Right, it really was long, yeah, it was. But you know, the ending part of it, he was giving us about his herbs and stuff like that, but it's some key information that I want to go over. So Leola kind of told him about this herbalist, and so Bobbi was like, okay, he wanted to fly him in and have a look at Bobbi Kristina. So that's what happened. He came in, Bobbi told him, you know, what really was going on with her. And this is the information that he stated that we didn't get, that was behind the scenes. So none of this information has been confirmed from Bobbi Brown. This is just his rendition of what happened behind the scenes when he got to the hospice where Bobbi Kristina was. Okay. So he said he walked in. He walked around the building and everything else, and he walked around some of the other rooms as well. And he saw that the majority of everybody was hooked up to tubes and everything, which means they were getting fed through the tubes or medicine through tubes or whatever. So when he got to Bobbi Chris' room, there was nothing. There was no tubes, no bags or nothing hanging, nothing. She was absolutely wireless throughout the whole room that she was in. She didn't have any tubes hooked up into her whatsoever, which he thought that was strange, because if she's in a coma, how is she being fed? How is she getting, you know, medicines or whatever that she might have needed? How is she being able to do all of this if she's in a coma, right? Hey, Secure, what's that, sister? So he thought that was rather strange, right? So he said that, here's a little background about Bobbi Kristina. She had been in a coma from January to July. No, it was some years she was in there, but she was in a coma from January to July. And that what he did woke her up, and she was able to stay awake for 2 weeks. Okay, so remember this information. She was in a coma from January to July, but then whatever he did, and he's going to explain we're going to go over what he did, that it woke her up and she was able to stay alive for 2 weeks. Okay. So this information is really key. Anybody else on the panelists wanted to say anything in regards to what they thought about the doctor before we start opening it up so we can just get into this whole situation here?
I would like to say maybe we should use the term doctor a little bit loosely, because I'm still trying to figure out where he got his credentials from. I know he has a website, feedgodsheet.com, but when I clicked on it, it wasn't even I couldn't access it.
Okay.
So
We
yeah.
don't have the credentials to know for sure that he is a doctor. Is this
No, I'm almost positive he's not. I think he's
okay?
like yeah.
So let me
He's
tell
just an
y'all something.
herbalist.
He's pretty much the same as Dr. Sebi. Y'all remember who Dr. Sebi was? All right. And we've had this discussion on here. He was not somebody who did years and years in school and got a medical degree and was considered as a doctor. He was an herbalist within the community that he was able to treat a lot of people for cancer and from what I heard, HIV, diabetes, all of those chronic diseases that alienate us, he was able to cure the people that he worked on. Okay. So in the eyes of the community, and I want to stress that, they considered him as such. Okay. You said you watched it. That is the devil sneaky link, right, sister? Okay, you agree, Yeka? Okay, so I want to make sure y'all know that I'm doing a respectful thing as stating that he's a doctor, because this is what Chronicle speaks. Well, she calls him doctor, but she has it listed as Prophet Dr. Jollie Harris. Okay.
His Instagram says doctor of the church. So yeah.
I just want to say, I think he's trying to fashion himself after Dr. Sebi.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's trying to, I don't know, listening to that interview, it's like he's bigging up himself, trying to build himself up in the eyes of everyone, that he's this big prophet, healer, doctor. Like, I don't know. Some of the things he said, okay, I can kind of see, but a lot of the things he said, I'm like, Negro, please.
Okay, so let's get into it then, Joy. What were some of the things that you was like, on with him? Like,
I'll come back to you in a minute. I'm about to order.
Okay, all right. Anybody else on the panel want to give us the I wasn't feeling this.
I don't feel that Dr. Sebi is the only, right? I mean, I know he's the one that people radiate to. His name, of course, is widely known, but I don't think that because somebody is an herbalist that they're necessarily trying to be Dr. Sebi. I think that some of the people that are believing in certain lifestyles or certain ways, sometimes they have some of the same personalities. Like they, I just think that maybe they subscribe to a lot of the same principles. I didn't necessarily feel that he was trying to be the next. Maybe he's just being who he is. I don't know. Yeah. I don't study him long enough to know, but I didn't necessarily. But I just want to say, hashtag Pat Houston is trash, because I just want to hurry up and get to my point about her.
We're gonna get into it about Pat, but let's finish going over there. Anybody else have anything that was just like about?
Well, what made me side-eye him was when he said that everything he do is led by God. That's not the issue that I have. But when you go to help somebody, you don't have any type of treatment plan in mind. You just over here saying you doing what God is leading you to do. To me, if you got certain herbs that work for certain things, why don't you have a plan in place? You know what I'm saying? I know he was saying he was teaching them how to use the herbs, but then at one point he say, what do you call it? He throws up God or some vomits God or something. I don't know. But in some ways, I do believe he believes what he's saying, but I also think he has an agenda.
Oh.
Because why are you drawn to these famous cases?
Okay.
But
Okay.
Good point.
All right, good point. Now I will say this, that he was going into this situation with Bobbi Kristina and he didn't know what was going on with her. So I will say that. Second of all, I've known that he has been on other platforms discussing certain things, and he has been speaking out about other patients that are regular schmegulars that he has helped. And one of them was one of the guys that he was speaking to in regards in the interview with Chronicle Speaks, and his name was Nasir, the father of the boy, his son, who fell in a pool and fell into a coma. Okay, so before I will just say that I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but I'm just giving you what we were given within this document. Okay, Yeka says she didn't find them very credible. Sister said, and you notice he had his herbals on deck or solicitation. Yes,
I
that's
did
correct.
see that, sister. They were set right next to him. I was like, look
Right
at
next
him.
to him. Mm-hmm. Jen said that he sounded so rehearsed. I will agree, he did. Mm-hmm. He did sound like he had been saying this over and over and over, which kind of makes me believe he's been saying it so much that that's what he believed. Go ahead, JaRonn.
I just want to say that just because I don't think that that he necessarily is like, oh, I gotta be the next Dr. Sebi. I ain't saying I believed everything he said, and I thought he was 100% credible because he seemed a little bit, I don't know. There was times when I was like, huh? Like, what? And then why are we talking about this now? And then I felt like if you went there off the trust of Bobbi, I would have kind of started out by saying, well, listen, I did speak with him. He knows that I'm here today. Like, to me, you went in a position of trust, and are you violating that trust now? Because you didn't tell us whether or not, even DMX, did you have permission to come out and even tell us like you met with them or you were his quote unquote doctor or spiritual leader or herbalist or whatever it is.
Now
But
remember, he
that's
claims
the issue that I have with everything. Because first and foremost, I need to know, are they okay with you speaking about it? Because that'll help me formulate my opinion. Because if they're not okay, then yes, you have an agenda. You're just trying to get your products out there. You're trying to make a name for yourself so that people will be like, oh, okay, this is a big deal and let's all go to this person and get healed. But if they do know and they're okay with it, then, that speaks a little more to his credibility. However, I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact that these events may have happened. Like, it may have played out the way he said. He was in a meeting, he was asked to speak and all of those things. But it's very important that I do know if Bobbi's okay with him speaking about it and if DMX family is okay with him speaking about it.
Right. So we don't know whether or not they have okayed him to speak on this situation, these subjects, nor do we know if this information is true, because nobody from either side on Bobby Brown, Pat Houston, nor on DMX's side has come out to confirm anything that he said. But again, this was just released not that long ago, so let's see if it gets some traction. And y'all know I'm already, on Instagram cool with Bobby Brown, so if he posts anything, then I'm gonna be on it, so I'm gonna know. Okay.
The pictures were very interesting, though. The pictures that he had with what was that, Pat's brother? Like, there were some still images that he showed. I guess it's supposed to show as proof that he was there at the hospital and stuff like that. So, that also speaks to his credibility. But I don't know how come there's a picture of you there. For all I know, you could have been going there to do something crazy and they just got a picture of you. So, it's like there's more pieces to the puzzle that I need to know.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
why
I agree with Lily in that I do believe that a lot of the story, in terms of the events that happened, are true. I mean, the details and how he told them, he didn't skip a beat. He didn't come off as a liar to me. I think he came off as someone that was maybe trying to capitalize on the moment. And I don't agree with the lifestyle stuff that he was talking about, but I think the bulk of the story was probably true. I don't think he would come on that platform and say those type of things, even about like the physicians and the hospital, whatever the place, and it was a lie, because that's character assassination. He can get sued. So I believe a lot of the things that he said was true, but I think his credibility is questionable when it comes to certain things in terms of his healing, his beliefs with medicine. And I didn't like how he was referring to doctors, nurses, and physicians calling them devils and everything. I didn't like that.
Okay, so let's get into it. So in a nutshell, because Dr. J and Shawn both brought up some good points, and Lily did too, along with JaRonn. So everybody on the panel is pretty much bringing up some good points, but let's just fill everybody in. So when he said he got to Bobbi Kristina's room, he noticed that she didn't have any tubes in her. She wasn't hooked up to anything, but yet that they said that she was in a coma. So he said that what he started to do was do pressure points on the inside web of the fingers and the feet. Okay, the fingers and the feet, and he named each one as like the liver, the kidneys, the heart, and it was one more that he named that if you pressed on these pressure points, it would boost and the brain, the liver, the brain, I
think he said the kidneys as well.
Kidneys, liver, brain, So he pressure pointed on those key parts between the fingers, the web part, and that whichever one he did brought Bobbi Kristina out of her coma, that she kicked him so hard when she did it. He said that that she kicked him hard enough to knock out 2 front teeth. Okay, so that is what he did to wake her. Okay, Yucca said he talked about the female body parts way too much. I got that. And Shantae said she just now saw her JaRonn's name, Pat Houston is trash. Hey Nisha, hey Sissy, thank y'all for joining in. We are really getting started. We just getting started. But
you know what, Sixx, with that, now I know people use pressure points, reflexology and all of that. But and we might need to get Sharon up here or somebody medical, because I'm not. But my assumption is that if you are not dead and you still have pain sensors, isn't your body's natural reaction gonna be to kick if somebody, because he said he gets it and he squeezes as hard as he can. So I know it hurts.
Right, because he said the pressure was enough to be like he stomped on her foot.
Yeah, so I mean, that seemed like that would be a natural reaction, not some big miracle like he's making it out to be. I'm just saying.
Well, he did say that once she kicked, she woke up, her eyes opened, and she sat up. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that those are our natural reflexes, is to jump or kick. But if you in a coma, to my knowledge, you don't have movement. They're just
you still do have your reflexes, some people. And also to sit up and open your eyes, that can happen too while you're still in a coma. The thing about it is, like, and I know you're getting there, I'm jumping ahead, but she never started communicating. She was just looking at people and growling at everybody.
Well, she said she called Daddy.
Oh yeah, she did say Daddy. She said Daddy, but other than that,
Daddy. Right.
He said she was growling like a pit bull.
Right. That is true.
Like, that's why I said we need medical personnel, girl.
I tagged Sharon, aka Sharon, so let's see if we can get her in.
They do be like real drain, lack of energy, need, you know what I'm saying? So it's like for you to come out of your thing so strong like that, it's like I need someone to confirm what he's saying. Like I need one other person to say that they see this, but even if
do y'all think that she reacted that way towards Pat?
Well, let's get into that, but before we jump to that part, I just want to know, how was she in a coma and them keeping her alive and she didn't have no tubes or nothing connected to her?
So she wasn't getting water or food or nothing.
She wasn't getting water or food.
You gotta get fluid. I don't even think you could survive past 4 days without water. You could survive without food.
And she had been in there for 6 months, y'all. She been in that hospice for 6 months.
Yeah, your electrolytes, like that's
exactly. Yeah. So you mean to tell me that you had her hooked up to absolutely nothing? She wasn't getting water, she wasn't getting food, and she wasn't getting any kind of particular medicine. he said she had no tubes whatsoever connected to her.
Well, how in the world was she getting the morphine? Now she got morphine.
That's what I would like to know. He said she came in on morphine.
Yeah.
Now remind y'all, now let me just make sure y'all know this. She was at a hospital before she got transferred to the hospice. So I remember when they took her from the hospital to transport her over to the hospital. And Sissy said injection.
Yeah, she probably had an IV. Even right. But you know, and also to your point earlier, Sixx, you definitely can be in a coma without having all of those tubes hooked up to you. Most of the people that have the tubes hooked up, they be on life support and the machine be keeping them alive. I don't think that was the case with her. I think she was in a true coma where she, you know, was unconscious. But
the thing about it was, they said when she was at the hospital before, she was hooked up on tubes. They had a machine breathing for her because she had physical abuse. Her teeth were knocked out. She had bruises on her body. She was submerged in water like her mama.
Right.
So she had to be, and this is why I'm trying to stress this, because I know we got what he said, but he don't know what took place prior to her being in the hospital. And this was what the information we were getting from blogs and or from what the news and stuff was reporting when they were showing certain stuff on the news. They was giving us tidbit of information. So, you know, like I always say, that's my job to bring in the nosy so y'all can know what was going on. She was hooked up to major tubes and everything prior to her coming to hospice. So why wasn't she on anything when she got over to the hospice? And Sissy said she was being starved to death. And I want to tell y'all that was one of the allegations that Bobbi was saying as well, that something wasn't right. They weren't doing her daughter right, because if I'm not mistaken, she was switched to one hospice or went to another, or it was a hospital she was in, and then he took her out and put her, like, you know, we'll get into this whole thing. I'm not going to say that he did it alone, but that she was switched a couple of times. Okay. Michelle said sound like he related to Justice Smollett. I could not. Real. No ma'am.
But you know, one more thing I was thinking about before I forget is that he was saying that Bobbi Kristina was a victim of, you know, that word you were asking about. What was it?
It's called annoxiation.
Where they were
the state of zombie-like condition. Yeah. Okay.
But what I was thinking, he was basically, I don't know if he said it flat out, but what I got was his implication was that they were doing that to steal her organs. Now, I'm sorry, no disrespect to the dead, but she was not a good candidate for organ stealing. She was a drug addict.
Say it again, Shawn. Say it again.
Don't nobody want no weed fried, crack fried liver.
Oh, no, sorry. Y'all. No.
I didn't say
if I go
down.
If I go down and I have liver failure, don't none of y'all have to get me no crack filled liver, or I'm haunting you when I get to the afterlife. I'm just telling you.
Wait a minute. This just took a turn. Hold on a minute. I want to just point out that he stated that was one of the things that they would do. And that's what he said that he was saying to Bobbi Brown. And, you know, that's one of the things that they normally do. Not to say that that's what they was trying to do, but that was one of the things that was a big issue with having them, you know, in that annoxiation state. Okay, they keep you alive long enough until you down your own and your good organs. They'll confiscate them and sell them on the black market. I'm just saying this is what I was getting from this. And I'm not gonna be putting no words in here, but I will agree with the panel. And don't nobody want no stuff where it's all doped up. I'm just saying, okay. Usually in hospice, they don't have you connected to anything. Okay, so boom, there goes Sissy giving a counter because he said he walked into other rooms and some of them were connected to tubes and stuff, but Bobbi Kristina was not. Okay, Jen says, so I do work with patients end of care. If they are breathing on their own and transferred to hospice, the patient will often be medicated from the hospital for comfort reasons. And they do have medication that devolve that are given to. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jen.
Dissolve, Sixx, dissolvable medication.
Oh, she got a DEVOLVE, devolved. Okay. Dissolve that they give it to. Got it. Sissy said my mom wasn't. They just had her heavily medicated with morphine through the IV state. Okay, so they was giving her IV. Shantae said,
Now, from my understanding and my experience with people that go to hospice, and I could be wrong, it's just the people I know. Whenever they went to hospice, that was like pretty much it.
The end.
You know what I'm saying? They're just making them
comfortable,
like, comfortable until you know life takes its course.
Yeah.
And
when they
everyone
put you
that
in
I've known,
hospice.
yeah, everyone that I've known that going to hospice has been like that. So
yeah. That was the last alternative. That means that they can't do anything else for you in the hospital. So they just trying to make you comfortable.
Right.
Till you transition. Now, some people do recover out of hospice, but not often.
Yeah. I agree. Shantae said it's not uncommon to be free of everything in hospice, though. And Nisha said, right, she was not a candidate. GNP said, there are morphine tablets that dissolve. That's what you were telling me, Shawn. Thank you. But I don't understand why Bobbi would let them stand by and let them starve her and not have any fluids. So there's a lot of unanswered questions. Good question, sister. Let's get into it. The reason why Bobbi could not do anything was because him and Pat Houston had 50% equal conservatorship over her, which means in order for Bobbi Brown to be moved or given something or done anything, both sides had to agree in order for it to be done. Now, if it was a situation where Bobbi had 51% and Pat Houston had 49, then Bobbi would be able to make decisions or override whatever Pat Houston had to say. But that was not that. I want to know, and this is going into what Lily be saying, this is an unanswered question, and we probably won't get the information. How in the hell is he the father of this child and he don't have full custody or conservatorship over her? That's what I want to know.
Because, like I said, hashtag Pat Houston is trash.
Pat Houston
because there's
is
no
trash.
way in hell you need a conservatorship. While we all know that Bobbi has had his drug struggles and his crime struggles and all of this, at the time that daughter of his was unconscious and going through that, I don't understand how after her mom passed, it went to Pat. Because if you make the argument that Whitney's not here anymore. Okay, but when Whitney was here and when Whitney was using drugs, what were you doing to protect her? So why do you need now to have some parenting via death because her mom has died and now you need to jump in and monitor what? I don't understand that.
You know, it makes me wonder, was there something in writing legally?
That's what I'm thinking.
Because, yeah. That's
maybe
what I'm
we
thinking.
had something in place, because it's like, what, like if something happened to me, your child automatically is gonna go to the dad. It wouldn't go to my sister unless I had something in place. And what kind of thing would you have in place? Like, it must have been like maybe he had.
But she was an adult. She was not a minor.
Been in trouble in a while, so it's like, even when you think about it, it's like, all right, even if you wanted to say, oh, because he had past charges, you don't think he'll be a fit father. I don't even think it's one of those situations.
But it won't
but
matter when that parent dies. She's dead, and Bobbi Kristina was not a minor. We're not talking about a 16-year-old girl. She was like 21, 22 when she died.
So let me tell y'all this.
Well,
Now,
something happened because she
happened.
She was responsible for her. So
let me tell you what happened. When Whitney died, the mama, Sissy Houston, was in charge of Chrissy.
Mm-hmm.
It all went to Sissy Houston. The money, the trust, it was all in Sissy Houston. Sissy somehow transferred everything over to Pat, because once she old as shit and she didn't have whatever it was to be able to help Bobbi Kristina, so to speak, because we know that she had drug issues as well and she was out of control, but she was just too old to be able to handle this situation that was going on. From what I understand, she had custody, and then as she transferred that over to Pat, this is how Pat got it.
But you know what? JaRonn still makes a good point. She's not a minor.
She wasn't a minor.
She wasn't a minor at that time, but she was up under a trust, which means when she got 18 years of age, they would give her some money.
Right, but that's money. That's not her life decision.
But they put her under conservatorship when they found out she was on drugs. Now, conservatorship can be for anybody of any age who they feel is not able to take care of themselves and is trying to do them harm.
But this is my point, though. This is why I believe, one of the reasons that I believe that Pat Houston is trash. Hashtag Pat Houston is trash. Because ultimately, when we're sitting around that table and this child is unconscious, this adult, she's unconscious, they're trying to figure out what to do, she's in hospice, and her father, who has been a present father to his daughter, maybe not continuously, maybe they didn't have 100% the best relationship near the end, whatever, but he has been a present factor in her life since birth in one way or another. And if he is making a decision to do XYZ, why am I fighting against that?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's her father. This is not some random dad who wasn't in the picture. She ain't seen him in 25 years and now she's 26 and he's showing up for fame. This is not that. He was her father. He has a right to make that decision. Now, if he comes to the hospital high on crack, whatever, you know, he's acting erratic, he's stabbing up the doctors or something, then yeah, you use your power at that point to control the situation. But literally, you allow this man's daughter, because in his mind, he's always going to be broken. Not only did she die, but he was not allowed to fight with whatever he wanted to do to fight. Whether you agree with the method of the herbalist or not, it was something that he wanted to try a little while longer, and you took that away from him.
That's true.
And can I just say this? She's saying that she made that decision because she knows that Bobbi Kristina wouldn't want to, you know, not be able to dance and sing. How do you know this is what her life is going to be?
Exactly.
So what Joy is saying, y'all, is that Pat
Houston and go through recovery.
My assumption is that's the information she got from the doctors. That's what I assume when she said, when they said,
you know what I'm saying? Every day. And
so what what y'all might not remember, what Joy is speaking of, y'all, is that Pat Houston was saying when they had that quick meeting about what they wanted to do with Bobbi Kristina, Bobby and his side of the family wanted the herbalist to step in, and Pat Houston was shooting it down. But she was saying the reason why she did not want to put on any kind of herbs or anything was because she said that Bobbi Kristina wouldn't want to be in would want to be able to sing and dance. She didn't want to be in a vegetable state per se, or, you know, having to be taken care of. This is what Pat Houston, from what the Jollie Harris, Dr. Jollie Harris was saying, the herbalist, said that Pat said in this meeting. I also want to point out that he also stated that Pat Houston had a close friend who was the custodian over the custodian and the attorney for the Browns and the Houstons, and that there was a conflict of interest. Let me get into these chats real quick so I can go over, because I see I'm way behind. Hang on. Okay, so why did they do 50-50? Because he was getting high, right? Well, I mean, we don't know. I can't even speculate. I can't even speculate on that, Shantae. Also, by the time organs have begun to shut down, are we not be very viable? I need chart notes all day about these types of situations. That's from GMP. Sissy said it was and still is about the control of Whitney Elizabeth Houston Brown's money. I agree with that as well. GMP said, I'm telling you guys, you see the true and raw emotion Bobby was experiencing if you watch The Masked Singer. Hard to explain until you see his face. Shantae said, Whitney money, right. Bobbi Kristina was her heir, maybe a trust. Yes, it was a trust. So she didn't go flat broke. Exactly. Sister said, so Chrissy's life was a non-factor because Pat was never going to let her live anyway. Shaking my head. Doggone shame. Y'all, Pat is the devil, okay? I'm trying to tell you. There's no custody for an adult. Right, but there is a conservatorship if it's if stuff is going on with them, so which is what she was under. By the way, how in the hell can you be a custodian and attorney for both? I really would like to know how that.
Now that was the Browns' fault right there, unless they didn't know. Because why would you let somebody, you know, work with you that's working with the people that's against you?
Yeah, that's crazy. Shantae said this makes no sense as to why Leola went so hard. Well, let the record reflect that we already know with Miss Leola, but okay. Shantae said it was her dad's money in a trust. Parents don't matter. GMP also said, I also wonder about life insurance. If they kept Bobbi Kristina alive long enough for those drugs to be out of her system, then she passed and they would be able to get that payout. That would be different if there was a policy. Yeah, I believe you're making sense, JMP. But there wasn't a living will. So how can she say that? It wasn't a living will for Bobbi Kristina, but there was a living will for Whitney Houston, and it was revised when she had Bobbi Kristina. And let the record reflect, we could really get into it because we already know that by Whitney Houston's father was the one who was drawing up these contracts, and that's how he swindled Bobby Brown out of money. Don't make me go there. That's all I got to say. Don't make me go
Wait,
there.
say that again, Sixx. Who swindled Bobby Brown out of money?
Yes, Whitney Houston's father.
Oh,
when
yes,
he wanted to marry Whitney Houston, he had to sign over his stuff, which is what he made, over to them. So when he got divorced from Whitney, he walked away with nothing. A lot of people do not understand that Bobby Brown walked away from that marriage with not a dime in his pocket. This is the reason why one of the reasons why he ended up going back on tour, making money, coming out with his food spice line and his barbecue sauces and stuff like that. Bobby didn't have nothing. Bobby didn't have a dime. And I'm just, you know, and this information was documented in one of those documentaries for Whitney Houston, guys, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'm just trying to let you know. Okay, I'm just giving you some of the information over the time that I know about. Okay, I'm almost caught up with everybody. But there was a little, so how could I be? Did y'all catch how the doctor said Pat and the lawyer had a special relationship? They said, the doctor said, and I broke this down. Hold on, let me get my notes. The doctor said, this don't make no sense. I took notes, y'all, because this stuff was just too much to be untrue to me. I really believe what he was saying. I really do. He said that Pat Houston and the custodian / attorney of Bobbi Kris, it was a conflict of interest, and Pat Houston and the custodian are tight like that. And he said, y'all know what tight like that means. When women say they tight like that, what does that normally mean? Right. Shantae say Pat still alive. She gonna do a slow and painful death. Oh my God. Tish said there's a conflict of interest all day. Sissy said preach. Whitney living will would have no bearing on Bobbi Kristina having a living will. Wrong. She copying from the website. Trouble T sent us this information, and it states, at the time of Houston's death, Brown was getting ready to turn 19 years old. So instead of gaining control over her mother's entire estate at that age, Brown received 10% or about $2 million, while the rest was put into a trust fund until she turned 21. Per Houston's will, Bobbi Kristina would then get another 6 of the estate when she turned 25, and then the rest at the age of 30. Unfortunately, Brown never made it to her 25th birthday, as she was found unconscious in a bathtub in January of 2015. Trouble T also stated, copying and pasting from this website, after Brown died, Houston's estate went to her mother, Sissy Houston, and her 2 brothers. Now, you know, one of the brothers married to Pat Houston. Keep this in mind, okay? After Brown died, Houston's estate went to her mother, Sissy Houston, and her 2 brothers. While Sissy was named the executor of the singer's will, she later renounced that role, requesting that Whitney's sister-in-law and manager, Marion Pat Houston, become the sole administrator of the estate, which is what I said earlier, period. Pooh. Yeka, okay, you back, Yeka? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Trouble T, for that post. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I can read your brain right now. And I know what you're thinking.
What, Joy?
It's the conspiracy theory in you.
What, Joy?
I can feel it. I can feel it. You
what you
thinking
feel?
that all of this was set up by the devil, that she don't make it to that 25th and 30th birthday, because all that money was going to go over to her eventually.
Eventually, Joy, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. I really do. Let me tell y'all something. And I know y'all know I'm a big conspiracy theory, but there is no way that you got somebody like as famous as Whitney Houston was, and for some particular reason, they were saying all these years that they would not allow her to take a bath, that they would only allow Whitney Houston to take showers. Why come? The only reason why you would not want somebody to do something is if they tried to do some harm to them by doing that before. Am I wrong or am I right? Am I wrong or wrong? If my kid was in the tub playing and he was over there trying to drown himself, or he accidentally drowned himself, as a mother, I would not want to not leave him unattended. I would want to make sure that I could either watch him while he's taking the bath in the tub, or I would make him take a shower. So there is no way that you can sit up here all these years. They have been leaking this information to us, telling us that they would not allow Whitney Houston to be alone, to be able to take showers by baths by herself. And there's one particular big comeback for her. They find her at the fucking hotel underwater in a tub. I'm just saying. And you got Pat, who's supposed to be watching over her, or you got Pat who's supposed to be administering people to be around her to watch her. The one particular lady who was supposed to be like her housekeeper. I'm not gonna say housekeeper, but she traveled with them. It was she ran errands for Whitney Houston, whatever. That Whitney told her to go do whatever she had to do something, and she left her by herself. So she took a bath to get ready for this big thing, this big time event. And Pat was what? 2 doors down. Why didn't she go get Pat and say, hey, Pat, Whitney want me to go do this, so I'm gonna need you to come down here and watch her, because she's talking about taking a bath.
I agree. So it's something ain't right. Something
ain't
right.
right. Something is not right. And then you trying to tell me a year or two later, the same shit happens to her daughter? She drowns in the tub?
But I feel like even with the thing with Bobbi Kristina, I don't remember who said it, but I still feel like Bobby has to take some responsibility, because he knew that Bobbi Kristina was not normal. Like, he knew that she wasn't normal, that she had a drug problem. That wasn't something that was a secret. And even before after Whitney died, they said that she was having issues. I just wish he would have been more active in her life, more involved, especially if he knew that Pat Houston was sketchy. If he knew that they were not right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish he would have been a little bit more involved if that was an option for him, because trying to get into her life when she's on her deathbed, especially if he doesn't have any money to get a good legal backing behind him, it's going to be hard to fight the system.
Let me just say this, but I know Lily want to say something, but Bobby Brown only missed 3 years of Bobbi Kristina's adult life. And it was due to her being upset with him about divorcing him and his mama's divorce. I'll just put that out there. Go ahead, Lily.
I was gonna say we can't really say that he didn't try to be in her life, because the way they portray in the documentaries, it seems like they were trying to keep them separated. And even in wait, is it the Bobby one or the Whitney one? You see like that scene where Whitney brings Bobby to talk to him. It seemed like they were kind of like they had like this distance between them. And I don't know if it's because Whitney was keeping her from him, or if it's because Bobby was mad at him. Bobby's mad at him. Sorry, 2 Bobby names is kind of confusing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
No, I get that part. I'm talking about post Whitney's death. Like, post Whitney's death, given the whole shenanigans behind her death and how that looked crazy, you know what I mean? And then seeing everything happening with Bobbi Kristina, because y'all remember she did that documentary, and you could tell from the documentary that she wasn't okay.
Yeah, that Lifetime show. Yes.
Yeah, but so you could kind of tell like something was off a little bit, and maybe he did. I'm just putting that out there as I wonder if or why he didn't. If he did not, why was he not really fighting a little bit more for her, to be more engaged in her life, or at least to protect her from, Pat Houston. You know what I mean? And then why was he not involved in the whole legal, information about his daughter?
Yeah, I don't know.
He probably tried.
Yeah, we might just not know that. And then you remember he also has an addiction himself, so we don't even know how he was handling the death of Whitney, because he still struggles with it.
Yeah, he done lost Whitney, he done lost his daughter and his son.
And his son.
And his son. And his mom.
And his mother.
Keep in mind that the reason why they got a divorce, besides all of the other accusations, we know that. But the main reason was because he wanted to get clean and Whitney did not. He could not be married to her, and she was still constantly doing it while he was trying to get himself clean.
Right.
He wanted to be off them drugs. Sharon, aka Sharon, we need you on deck, ma'am. I see you die. Let me read some more of these comments right quick. So that's right. Pat, okay, yeah, hold on. I lost my way. And I want the record to reflect Sissy ain't shit either. Ooh, that's from Shantae. Sis said, damn, that messed up. They killed that baby. Facts, Deanna, Sissy said. Okay. Sister said Pat told the BF brother to give Chrissy some bad drugs so she wouldn't get that money when she turned old. Pat probably promised that man or them other people some money that was alone in the house with Chrissy. Okay, sister coming up with her conspiracy theory too. Okay, I like. You right. A whole damn lie. Hashtag Pat Houston is evil. Something is not right. Damn generational curse. Tick them. Took them. Yes, took them. She should know what type of people that should be around her child. She should know Pat is evil. She's supposed to be a church mother. Now let the record reflect that. From what we understand, Whitney did not care for Pat, but that she allowed Pat to be around her and do things because of her brother. Y'all remember, her brother is the one that got her hooked on the drugs. I feel like to some degree that she was trying to help him out, because even when he did that interview with Sissy Houston and Oprah, okay, he said he always regretted it. He always felt some type of way that he introduced drugs to her. And he did it at a very young age. She was really young. She was a teenager at the time he introduced it to her.
Wait, but that wasn't the brother that was married to Pat, though? That was the other brother, right?
No, the brother that was married to Pat is the one that introduced her to drugs.
No, I thought it was the other brother.
No, ma'am.
The other brother.
Go back and look at that Oprah interview. He was on drugs as well, and he was bringing it home, and she wanted to try. And he said that he felt really bad because he know that he was the one who got her hooked on it.
Okay, I'll look at it.
Okay, and give me a second. I can pull it up on the Googler as well. Shantae said he wasn't in control. His hands sound like they were tied. We're talking about Bobby. If I'm being blocked out of my daughter's life, he had absolutely no control. Go ahead, Joy.
I thought it was Michael, and not the one that's married to Pat.
It was. I just looked it up now. It says LA Times. They say Michael Houston. That was the younger one that got her hooked on him, not the oldest.
Right, not Gary.
So Gary was not the one.
No, it was Michael.
He wasn't the one who introduced her. They probably did it together later, but
at some point, yeah. But it was Michael.
Yeah. Okay. So they checked on the Googler. I was wrong. So I always thought it was the one married to Pat.
Shoot, I always thought it was him too. So it was good for me to know that. I didn't know that.
No, it was Michael, because I'm even reading it. It says even on the Oprah show that Sixx was talking about, it was Michael, because I distinctly remember he was sitting there next to Sissy, and Sissy's mouth dropped because Oprah had asked her about Bobby, and then he had to come out and admit, like, no, I was the one. It was, I was the one that put her onto it.
Mike. Okay, so wait.
So Gary might have put Michael on, but Michael's the one that put Whitney on.
What was the name of the brother that's married to Pat?
Gary.
Okay.
Gary's the dark-skinned one. Michael's the lighter one.
The light-skinned one.
And Gary's the one that have a different father than Whitney and Michael.
Right, because Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Michael's the bodyguard, the one who found her in the room.
No, I thought that was Gary.
Oh.
I don't know who found her, but I just know the brother Michael's the one that put her onto the drugs.
When the lady came back to get whatever that Whitney needed, she found the water on the floor overflowing, and she ran down to go get Pat Houston. And then the brother ran in while she was running down the hall screaming. The brother ran in there. Okay. All right. So she was brainwashed when her mom passed away. Pat knew if Bobby linked with her dad, it was a wrap for her. Her being Pat's stupid ass. Okay. He was hurt when Whitney died. He really was. Y'all, I really do believe that they loved each other. I don't know why, you know, people think otherwise. But I mean, I understand there was a lot of cheaterization and stuff within the marriage on both ends. But I really do think that they loved each other. Sorry I'm late. I'm nursing. My husband had surgery. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope he gets better soon. Sharon, aka Sharon. I just want Brandy to tell us what was in the know. Girl, we all want to know. Not Gary, it was Michael, Sissy said. Okay, thank you, ladies. Brandy knows what it says, and so does the person that handed it to her does as well. Let me let the record reflect that I really do believe that in that note, it was Whitney telling Brandy, I need your brother to meet me up in the hotel room, whatever she was in, because I truly believe that he was her drug dealer. And y'all know who I'm talking about. Okay? Allegedly, if we got to do it like that. Okay. Dr. J, right? Okay. It was Michael. Okay. Thank you, guys. I was telling Ray J to come to her room with the drugs. Okay. That's what I said, sister. Sixx, it was Michael. Okay. Gary changed his last name to Houston. Oh, really? Trouble T. Interesting. So Gary's last name was not Houston. He changed it to Houston.
He changed it. He changed it because that was Sissy's son before she married Whitney's father.
Right. And Trouble said his original name was Gary Garland.
When did he change his last name?
Yep, I knew that.
When? When did he change it?
When did he change it, Trouble? Do you know? Toxic love is addictive love. Yes, GMP, I agree. Facts. Drug dealer for sure. Let's see what Trouble T say. I did ask her. Okay, so back to this. So when the doctor woke Bobbi Kristina up in the bed, Sharon said he was giving her more than drugs, and she gave the P emoji. Okay, girl. Said that when he woke her up, she was, growling and making these noises and stuff like that. And he had Bobbi go behind her head and do some kind of circle in the middle of her head. And that she was calling out his name and stuff like that. And then, like they were trying to make sure that she was coherent. So they was asking her, do you see the person who woke you up? And she nodded, and then he asked, do you see whatever? And she nodded twice. And they, so they was communicating with her, and she was communicating back. So they said that when Pat brought her raggedy ass up in that damn room, after hearing all of this commotion, that she was awake, that she came in the room where Bobbi Kristina woke up, and she came closer to Bobbi. And when she got closer to Bobbi, that she was growling like, and had her nose flaring like she wanted to get at the broad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like DMX be like, get at me, broad. Like, yeah, she wanted to get at her. Like, she didn't want Pat in the damn room. So Pat was backing up out of the room. She walked backwards. Like, she would not turn her back to Bobbi Kristina. Interesting.
Okay, I found some information about Gary. So he used to be a basketball player in the NBA for the Denver whatever, and he only played one season. He got kicked out for drugs, and then he started singing backup for Whitney. And after she became kind of big is when he changed his name.
Interesting. Yeah, no longer he didn't want to miss out on his opportunity of money. He wanted to be a Houston.
Oh yeah, that's opportunist. Because what man just be wanting to change? Yeah. That's just opportunity. He wanted to be recognized and known as Whitney's brother.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Well, the interesting thing about this whole scenario with Bobbi Kristina is the final decision on her, where they had that meeting, and that the Jollie Harris ended up talking to the CEO, the chief of surgeon. He ended up talking to all of the frontliners and the decision was made not to allow him to give her any herbs. So that is the reason why she did not get it. And she ended up living 2 weeks after that meeting. And then she passed away.
That meeting also was a decision on her life too, right? And that's the other thing I have a problem with, because it's like after seeing her respond the way she is, showing brain activity, even if there was a meeting scheduled, after seeing that, why wasn't all of that halted? Like, hold on, this is a miracle. Like, hold on, she's, you know what I'm saying? Like, why wasn't everybody alerted and like feeling like, hold on, things is changing. She's making progress. You know what I'm saying? Like that, even if Bobbi couldn't make the decisions, like you have other doctors and all these people that can see this, you know what I'm saying? So it's that's weird to me, you know?
Well, none of the doctors wanted to keep her on the herbs either. They were all against it. And Pat Houston had the final say because they own 50 conservatorship over her. So it was up to her, because everybody else on the Brown side wanted to give her the herbs, and everybody on the Houston side did not. Interesting.
But wait a minute. So if they were both 50-50, how did she get the final say? Because if that's the case, why Bobbi didn't get the final say?
Well, it was. Yeah. Well, go ahead. Who was that?
She had to have no. It wasn't that she necessarily had the final say. It was that they had to either meet, and Bobbi said yes. So she either had to say yes with him, because if she said no, there was no deciding factor. Then I guess obviously the doctors would then do what they wanted. So it wasn't like she necessarily.
So you're saying Bobbi gave in?
No, because I'm sorry, I may have said it wrong. Because Bobbi was saying yes, that he wanted to go forward with the herbs. She had to agree with him because they had equal share. They had an equal decision. So because she said no, they did not agree. So the doctors just, couldn't just say, okay, we're going to go forward with whatever Bobbi said. Like they didn't like flip a coin. They just stuck with no, which is what apparently I think the doctors wanted.
So instead of things changing, it just remained the same because she didn't say yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I don't understand. Like there should have been someone pushing more, advocating, because it's 50-50. To me, that don't sound like 50-50. That sounds like what Pat Houston wants is what happened.
And that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Like,
yeah, because to me,
still had the final say.
Yeah, usually if there's two people and they don't agree, then there has to be someone else that comes in to make the determinant, the final decision if they can't agree.
Is there a power of attorney anywhere involved in this at all? Or
the power of attorney was on Pat's
her
side.
friend.
Yeah.
The attorney
and the
custodian.
Attorney. Right.
I wonder if Sissy could have broke I'm going to call it a tie. I wonder if Sissy could have broke the tie.
No, because she doesn't. She washed her hands of it.
What I'm saying is because there was nobody else to break the tie.
They would have had to go back. And actually, it would have been.
I think Sissy could have influenced it, but I think Sissy checked out when Whitney checked out.
Yeah.
I think Pat knew that. I think Pat manipulated everyone around her to get what she wanted. And I think going back to Whitney, I think that's why they didn't like Whitney's girlfriend there. Because she provided some balance. Like she didn't just give in to what Pat or anyone else had to say, So I think when everything happened, Sissy, like what kind of grandmother would give all of your rights over to another woman? She's not blood. If anything could have happened, her and Gary could divorce, and then what? You just put your daughter's legacy. Yeah, you put your daughter's legacy, your granddaughter, in her hands. Like to me, that's just crazy. I feel like Pat manipulated everyone to get what she wanted.
She could have even gave the rights to CeCe Winans. I think, ain't she her godmother?
Yeah, she was.
Probably more family than Pat is.
My whole thing is, how come they just couldn't say, well, let's try the herbs, and if it don't work, then we'll let her go?
Because that would have kept her alive.
That's what I say.
And that's not Pat wanted her gone.
Exactly.
Right. It's like, why not give it a try? You saw whatever he did or he say he did, brought her out of that coma, what else do you have to lose?
And I believe that happened, because if that hadn't happened, then he would not have said, Bobby would not have said, my daughter is awake, y'all. So he had confirmation from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said it. So I believe that that she woke up. Now I ain't there. I don't know if it was due to the herbs or not, but I believe that she did wake up.
Well, he didn't give her
That
no
was the
herbs.
pressure points. Those were the pressure points.
I mean, not the. I meant to say whatever the doctor did. The quote unquote doctor did.
My thing is, why was Mimi, Bobbi Brown's niece, sitting over there with Pat Houston? Why was she Benedict Arnold?
Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
Mimi, are you
Baby, money is a powerful thing for some people, you know.
Girl, we might need a hashtag for Mimi now.
I'm just saying. Let me see what's in these comments.
You're not talking about Stevie Mimi, right?
No, the niece of Bobbi Brown was sitting on Pat Houston's side. She wasn't over there with Bobbi Brown and Uncle Ray and Tommy. She was on Pat Houston's side, sitting with Pat.
But you know, we were talking about this yesterday, Dr. J. I agree with what you said, which is that, and Michelle just said it too, doctors consider herbalism experimental. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not an accepted medical practice. I see why they wouldn't authorize it in a medical facility. Now, she was at home and things like that. They could probably do it, but I'm just saying, just to play devil's advocate, I see why they didn't go for it in that facility, because they don't know nothing about what herbs he's trying to give her.
Well, what he said was that the doctor said that they did not want to give the herbs because they thought that she could choke or aspirate or whatever on the herbs.
They didn't want the liability, because it is a liability.
Yeah, if
something
that
happened,
was the whole purpose of them trying to take her out of there and put her in like an Airbnb or something. But they denied that. So why are you denying them to move her? The doctors denied that. They denied her being moved out of the facility because they wanted to try to move her to either take her home or take her to an Airbnb so that they can try the herbs, since they didn't want the liability. How are you going to tell them no if you're saying that you can't do nothing else for her?
Well, that would be several things, y'all. There could be Bobby agreeing.
Yeah, there could be several things, you know. It could be a conspiracy theory issue. Also, remember, physicians take a Hippocratic oath. You know what I mean? And so if they genuinely don't believe in, these free-for-all herbs or whatever, then to them, that's doing more harm. Like, that's doing harm to the patient. So they're not going to say, hey, yeah, go release her to an Airbnb. I mean, when you think about it from a medical perspective, it's like, yeah, it is kind of scary.
It sounds ridiculous to say.
Hey, just take the body, go to an Airbnb and pump her with
Airbnb. It don't.
Yeah. So I could honestly see why they're like, no, we're not gonna do that.
But I think that's probably why he was trying to explain that right that families have once they tell you that there's nothing else they can do, that they had that right to do. To take her out if
like
they
want. If you want to go home and die,
But Pat wasn't going to agree to it is the issue.
Yeah, you insisted. And my thing is, like, if there's nothing you can do, you're going to try whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, there's nothing. All right, let's just try this. Let's try anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, you was really against trying to, give her a chance, unless you were really concerned with her quality of life. You know what I'm saying? Because that is a thing. People are concerned, like, I don't want her to be a vegetable or anything like that. So I don't know.
Now that's true, Libby, because Trish told me that. Trish, my husband, told me, he was like, if something happens to him and it means that he's going to be a vegetable, like he cannot move, feed himself or whatever, he was like, do not resuscitate. Do not. He doesn't want to live like that. Now, I don't agree. I said, bring me back, because even if I can just sit there and drool and look at you, you going to stay married to me. Okay. But he's like, no, he doesn't want it. So for some people, that is true. They don't want that way of living. Now, I'm not saying that that's what Bobbi Kristina said. And if she did, I don't even think that she should be able to make that type of decision, being that she was on them drugs and stuff.
Well, that's what Pat said. That's what Pat said, that she know. And she knew Bobbi Kristina well than anybody over there.
Pat a whole Jussie Smollett. She knew that money. she knew that money was talking.
Yeah, I think it was money. And also you do have certain, especially old school people, that they're only gonna listen to what the doctors say. I know, like when my grandma and them used to go to the doctor, they did whatever that doctor told them to do. That's just the way a lot of people are too.
Yeah, that's true. Sister said Pat needs to be investigated. Someone needs to hire a private investigator to follow Pat in these streets. We know where she is, sister. She over there doing holograms for Whitney Houston. Holograms and doing concerts.
Whitney's money.
We know what she doing.
Situations, the reason why you can't really fully investigate it because there's too many people involved. It's not going to just be her. If it was
not just her,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's that custodian attorney lady too. Her girlfriend. Allegedly. Something will come like Pat Houston is the devil hashtag. Everybody's saying she is. Most Western doctors don't feel confident in herbalism, consider experimental. Well, isn't that what they do on us in the hospital and stuff? They don't be knowing exactly. They just be trying shit to see if it worked too. I'm just saying. Sister said, and she had.
It's still a little different.
Yeah, it's still different, but they do be trying shit on us.
I mean, most procedures that doctors use, even if it's experimental, it's being tested before it gets to you.
Yeah.
They're not just trying stuff.
And look, let's just be honest. The way that doctor was called frantic and in that video, I don't know if I would trust him either, coming in there talking all that, talking about something. He's a doctor of God, doctor of the church. You know, yes. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
God. I'm like,
well, he was recommended, and obviously he's done some stuff to be able to be proven from what he was saying.
He was recommended, but trust me.
And let me just say this.
He said, now the one example he said with that man that he called, that person that he supposedly brought back was a vegetable too. So that might have further supported what Pat was saying, because he said himself the man had to feed the kid, like he was feeding him because he was not, like, he couldn't do anything. So that could have actually worked against him there for him.
It could have.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for the most one thing, but what is their quality of life gonna look like? That's my whole point. You can bring them back, but what are they expecting to live like? You know,
it wasn't like they ain't have enough money to take care of her if that was the case. And if that's what the father wanted, who is they to say otherwise?
Yeah, I don't know. But
I'm just saying.
I agree. I think Pat
when it comes to that, I know you said he came recommended, but when somebody is desperate, that's the perfect time to pop your head in the door, like, oh, here I am. You know,
I mean, well, I would assume that anybody who had a loved one would want to try whatever they possibly could.
That's what I'm saying. That's the perfect time to pop up.
And I get that. I get that. But me sitting up here knowing that my child is dead and gone, and I had the opportunity to use something else to see if it might have would have worked. What if she wouldn't have been a vegetable? What if she would have been all right? How would I have known if I didn't try? That's a big ass burden of what if.
Yeah.
But also that goes back to the earlier point that they were saying. I really feel like I'm wondering why Bobbi didn't go back to court.
And I guess that's what I was trying to say. Is like, why didn't Bobbi fight a little bit more? Maybe he did and we didn't see it, but I just feel like, y'all know, put yourself, if that's y'all kid and you fighting your other person, the baby father or somebody of your father, the child's father's family member, you're gonna fight with everything you have. Like, I'm not giving up. I would have went on the news. I would have been, maybe he felt overwhelmed. Maybe he didn't have enough support.
If he didn't have Pat Houston's so-called AKA girlfriend as the attorney and the custodian, he probably would have. If he would have thought to get somebody else and fire her, I don't know what she was on his side. I don't know what she really was on the Houston side either. But if she was dabbling in both, that was a conflict of interest.
Was shaky,
and they could have brought that up to the courts, and he could have said, "Look, she's the custodian and the fucking attorney."
Is there a way we can investigate like any court things that was going on during this time? I mean, during the time that she was in hospice, because there might have been things going on that we just probably didn't hear about,
It could
behind
have
the scenes.
been.
He might have been trying. I have a hard
I
time
doubt it
with
though. Y'all know we
anything.
would have found it back then because I remember us investigating this. I remember us talking about this, and the blogs and the news were so intimately involved in this. I feel like if this was going on, it would have been out there. And not only that, Bobby had the opportunity he could have really went on the news. There was people all outside and said, I'm in here fighting. I need help. I just feel like maybe he could have done more. I'm not going to just lay down and just take nothing. Not for my kid. I don't care what you say. I don't care what lawyer. No, I'm fighting for this. And I feel like he probably just felt like overwhelmed because the doctor said Bobby when Pat said no, he slammed his hand on the table and got up and walked out.
Maybe he didn't have enough money to fight this. I mean, she got all the Whitney suit money and the damn daughter. Maybe he didn't have enough money to fight.
Well, he could have fought her in the court of public opinion. That would have been the perfect place, like Dr. J said.
All them newspaper people out there.
Look at her. If it was my kid, that herbalist, when we in that room by herself, give her them damn herbs.
You listen.
Give them
I'll pop her mouth open. You slide him to the back. You know what I mean?
Well, they did.
Or you give it to me, and I'll give it to her. Put it in my hand, and I'll give it to her.
Right. I would have been saying, lock the door.
Yeah.
If somebody watched the outside, make sure don't nobody come in. And I figure something out. I just feel like something isn't right. Something is not adding up. And I think everybody was so worried about themselves that nobody really stopped to think about this kid has been through so much. Her whole life was raised with drugged up parents.
Right.
Her mother then dies, dramatically. She got an aunt over here that's working with the devil, you know what I'm saying, taking her money, a boyfriend that's scheming and plotting. She just didn't have anybody that I feel really cared about her enough to just think about her. Sissy over here singing her shoulda, coulda, wouldas with the Warwick lady trying to read palms and the pocket to Pat. I mean, this was just crazy.
Right.
This was crazy.
Hold on, Sissy was over there with Madam Cleo.
Girl, they cousins. Ain't they cousins or something?
I mean, Dion, but I mean, she was with, okay, because I was like, wait a minute.
I was being sarcastic.
But all I want to say, if Bobby did not have enough money, he could have come in here and we would have investigated the hell and read the hell out of Pat.
Oh my God. Let me read some of these chats. I'm behind. So sister said, and she should have been given IVs and food or whatever needed once she showed signs of improvement. The doctor made the final say, Shantae said. Tish said, so did they have a mediator? I don't think that they did. They probably went on the advice of the doctor, probably. Sharon, aka Sharon, said, I'm curious as to why after Bobbi Kristina reacted to the stimulation by the herb doctor, and EEG wasn't done to determine what, if any, brain activity was present. They, meaning Pat, moved really fast to get rid of Bobbi Kristina. Period. Okay, yes. Sister says Sissy was not letting the Lord use her, and she through Pat's evil ways. Tish said because that wasn't in the best interest. I don't think it was. The doctors always saying how they want to have the best interest of whatever, but they didn't do that for either. They just took the side of Pat. Doctors consider herbalism experimental. Sharon, aka Sharon, said you usually try anything. There was nothing to lose. Right. Shantae said y'all got me yelling at the damn phone. Sorry, I'm trying to go through these post y'all in the chat. Sharon, aka Sharon, says, seems to me the doctor was performing deep pain stimulation, which is why I want to know why there was no EEG done. Sharon, aka Sharon, I know you said you taking care of hubby, but see, this is why we was summoning you to come in so you can come up on the panel as well. We need the expertise of a nurse to be able to give us some additional information as well. Shantae said, do the doctors broke the tie? No, they didn't. Shantae said, who is Tammy's mom? That's Dr. J. Tish said so couldn't have her discharged against medical advice. And look, this is what the doctor said. He said anytime they say that they have either something is irreversible or they have done everything that they possibly can, that the family has the last rights. The family last rights is the hospital rights. He said that if they say they can't do anything, that the family have the right to take action into what they want done. And if they do not get what they need, they can go to patient advocate and make a complaint against the hospital, the doctor, or the nurses. Did y'all hear that? So
but there was on one side of the family that wasn't getting what they wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So could have discharged her against medical advice. It's a money thing. Pat wanted Chrissy to go so she could cash out. But most people put that in writing because my husband told me the same thing. Yeah, most people who do want that, they want it in writing. Shantae said he's known in the herbalist community. We don't consider him a witch doctor, but he is respected as weird as he is. Sharon, aka Sharon, said, I do not want that doctor anywhere near me. Hey, Rosie, thanks for joining. Sissy said, all I want to know is why did he say Bobbi, Chris, and DMX both woke up growling? Okay, so we can get into the DMX part of it too, because he said he did the pressure points on DMX and he woke up the same way as Bobbi Kristina. They were like growling and stuff when they woke up. I have no idea. I don't even know. I don't have no answer for that, to be honest with you, Sissy. I don't know. Anybody on the panel got an answer as to why somebody would wake up out of a coma growling?
I don't. Sharon?
Were they grunting or growling?
Yeah, grunting, growling.
I won't say grunting maybe, and that might be a normal thing.
But their brain is
grunting,
not functioning properly.
Yeah, and that sounds like behavior from people that don't have verbal, like strong verbal. Yeah, they're not very verbal.
And he did say that. He did say that Bobbi Kristina couldn't formulate her words. The only thing she was able to say was daddy, and it wasn't, he was saying it was she was growling it out, not really speaking. So that could be it. His reputation was in question. He wasn't clear and he just wasn't strong enough. Okay.
Miss Ann say growling because they got the devil in it.
Wait a minute, Miss Ann.
Miss Ann.
So there was some growlerization because they got the devil in them. Well, I mean,
I've been watching Poltergeist.
Let them tell it. The hospital logo is the sign of the devil. It's the serpent over the cross, right? Oh, boy.
Yeah, but we already established he's not even a medical doctor.
Yeah, we know he's not a medical doctor.
So yeah, but he felt the need to keep pointing that out in his video and talking about how doctors and nurses are devils, and
that's just crazy.
I mean, I'm something like a doctor. Like, I watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy and ER, but I have massive respect for the medical profession. I don't say I am a doctor. I just say, I'm something like a doctor.
Oh, Lord, help us, Jesus. Help us, Jesus.
I'm a TV trained professional.
Yeah, Sharon, you can join without your camera on. We don't have our cameras on.
Yeah. Let me send you the link, Dad. That's what I was trying to do. Hang on a moment.
Yeah, we about to get a medical professional off up in here, girl. We got everything on the curve. Shoot.
Educate the people.
Girl.
I mean, I really would like to know, like, for real, what is the, whole thing about the growling and stuff. I have no idea. So what do you guys think overall in regards to him being able to wake her up? Like, and when Sharon, aka Sharon, come on here, maybe she could be able to tell us about that. But What
Keep in
is it?
mind
He
when
said
people are in their last stages of life, they do go through a small time where they're very alert.
okay.
It's actually a moment of awakeness that they have right before they die. So I'm not saying that was what she experienced, but it could have been, because that happens quite often, actually, especially for people that are in hospice. It's a call that, like, their last moment of awakening, and they're very alert. Their memory is pretty good, and then they tend to just kind of, fade away after that. But that is typical for people in their final stages.
And I know
And
y'all know people that's been in the hospital and they was damn near on death's door. And then the next week you go see them, like, oh, they're doing so much better. I talked to mama, I talked to daddy, and she's doing so much better. And then a couple of days later, they're gone. Like you said, it's like they come alive. Like their spirit and everything come alive, and then that's it.
It happens very frequently with people, like especially in like hospice and stuff, when they're kind of fading away. And maybe that's what the doctors knew. Like maybe they knew, like, she doesn't have a really good chance, or maybe this is something that is kind of normal. I don't know. We're getting bits and pieces of the doctor from the church, so we don't know how reputable. We need context, but
right, we need more information. And also, like I said earlier, some of that I would attribute to pain stimulation. When you put somebody in pain, that's gonna jolt them. That can definitely jolt somebody awake. Be looking at you like, what the hell?
Right.
Yeah, because he said he hit her hard enough, like,
that
so that could have been another factor too. Yeah.
People that are in a coma still respond to stimuli.
Yep. And if she wasn't on like IVs and stuff, then that means she wasn't in a deep coma either.
Right.
Y'all know what else I wonder? And he didn't say anything about it. So when she was up for those 2 weeks, he said she was laying there watching TV for 2 weeks straight.
Afraid to go to sleep. But I'm like,
afraid to go to
that?
sleep. Was they feeding her then? Was she eating then? Was she talking? Was she responding? Or was she just laying there, just staring at the TV? I mean, you need to touch on that too. You're gonna bring that up.
I mean, he didn't. He just say she was up for 2 weeks. Doing what?
Yeah.
And how does he know? How does he know if she wasn't talking? If she wasn't verbal?
And he only stayed 4 days after, he said.
Right. They wouldn't allow him to stay. The hospital didn't want him there. They didn't want him there.
Yeah. So
it's something he ain't telling us, because the people.
Yeah, there's something else.
Yeah, I was about to say, he leaving out something. When we start talking about it and thinking about like everything he said, when he went to DMX, they had the sharpshooters come after a while. So I'm like, what are you going there saying to these people?
Right.
No,
he
seriously. They didn't even want him on the sidewalk. They said, you can't even be on the sidewalk. Get that.
Yeah, so that makes me question, like, well, what were you saying? What was your behavior in there?
Okay.
Were you in there calling them devils too?
This is what he said. He said that when, and I told y'all I took notes on this stuff so we can have his quotes and whatever he was saying. He said he was with DMX the last 48 hours of his life. He was on oxygen. He said when he came into the room, he did the pressure points on him. He said the meters on the medicine registering was showing movement, a lot of movement. They had him on the COVID-19 floor. And he said, for people that didn't know that the Rona does have a smell now. Now, Sharon, aka Sharon, is on that. Confirm or deny. Does the Rona have a smell?
Well, not necessarily. People's body might have a smell reacting to something that's going on, what coronavirus has done to the body, but the virus itself don't have a smell. I mean, it just depends on what part of this body system it has attacked.
And girl sitting there agreeing with him, talking about, it do.
That doctor, let me just say this. I know, like, I do believe, I take lots of vitamins and herbs and stuff too, but come on, let me just say this. As I listened to that, y'all, I fell asleep 2 nights trying to listen to that man. And finally today, I thought, I'm gonna listen to this. And I listened to it, and this is me. He couldn't come 5 feet near me, period. Because as I'm listening to this man, I'm thinking how he's telling how it happened in there. How did you really go in there and portray yourself? And then when he was talking about, the touching and whatever he was doing with Princess Bobbi Kristina, that was deep pain stimulation. And so that's why you kept hearing me say in the chat, why wasn't an EEG done? Because when you do deep pain stimulation, you may get involuntary movement as well as grunting. So that's why I wanted to know what an EEG showed. Did an EEG show that she had any brain activity going on? Because if she had brain activity going on, yeah, Pat Houston is a whole devil. But if she did not have any brain activity going on, a lot of that stuff, you have the parts of your brain that have primitive movement and stuff, and that grunting and stuff is generally, I don't know about in her case, involuntary. So I mean, and sometimes they'll even open their eyes, y'all, and there will be no brain activity. So that's what made me wonder. But now, and then I got mad as hell. Excuse me.
Okay.
Because how dare you call doctors and nurses and people evil?
Speak, please. Speak.
Because
that's what I said.
And let me just say this. Yes, just like that. Yes, there are. Let me say there are some evil doctors and nurses, but he lumped everybody in the category in the group of being evil. And the thing about it is, if I'm sick, really sick, I ain't looking for no damn herbal doctor to find out what the hell is going on with me.
Right.
Thank you, Sharon.
My husband just had surgery Wednesday. You think I was taken to a herbal doctor to say, okay, can you help him with this back thing?
Girl, say what you got to say. Just say it.
Girl.
Let me just stop. Stop cussing. But it made me mad because it took me 2 days to get through that. And then when I finally got through it, I was mad today. I said, I'm gonna see if when they come on the thing, I'm gonna be in there because I'm mad about this doctor. And then I was doing something with him and I got late and I thought, that man, listen.
See, this is
that's
why
how I was. This is how I was when I went live. I was so passionate because I was like, this guy is crazy. Like, I believe some of the events that he said were true. But I think how he presented himself, what he was saying was just disrespectful. It was offensive.
Yes.
And everything that she said in the cuss words.
This is why I was saying that I wanted everybody to watch it, because it's a different story for me to come up here, and even though I took notes on everything, but to give you what he was saying and the overall thing, it's different from me telling you that opposed to you actually seeing it and viewing it for yourself and picking up on stuff. I'm not a nurse. Okay, I'm not in the doctor field, so I don't have an expertise in knowing about what to do if this was going on and this was happening. So I'm glad that Sharon, aka Sharon, is able to come up here and lend us her expertise in this, because why didn't they do, or if they did do one, why he didn't say anything about that? I will say that some of the information that he dispelled is very interesting, which is why I decided that I wanted to do a panel discussion about it, because we didn't get all of this behind the scenes stuff when it happened. So a lot of this stuff was missed out.
But Sixx, that's not the first time I've heard about this doctor in that situation. I don't know where I heard it, but I've heard this before with the doctor.
That's why I said he has been out. He's been out and he was recommended. So I've heard of this doctor. Well, we keep saying doctor, this herbalist. We've heard about him doing some stuff before.
I've heard about him, and I don't know where I heard it, where I read it, but I heard about him in the Bobbi Kristina stuff before.
But they did say that they had somebody come in, but they didn't never give us no information about who he was.
Right, but I remember hearing the part about her opening her eyes and the grunting, and in my nurse mind, I thought, okay, I mean, because let me just say this: I truly believe in miracles, and I know they do happen. But in my mind, as a nurse, I was thinking, that's reflexes. That's deep pain stimulation that caused the grunting and the reflexes. That's what I thought when I
So you
first heard
don't
it a
think
long
that
time.
she was really actively awoke?
I don't know, but in my nursing opinion, I don't think so. I don't.
So how was she able, if we're going off of what he said, how was she able to stay alive 2 weeks after?
Well, now you can stay alive. Okay, so I don't know how many people remember a long time ago when we first had the remove life support fight. It was Karen Ann Cruzen who was in New Jersey. Okay. And she was out drinking, and she had taken Valium and alcohol and slipped into what they call a persistent vegetative state. Okay. And the state of New Jersey, her parents fought the state of New Jersey to have her removed from the life support because they said she would not want to live like that. And New Jersey said no. Well, it was a big old battle, but when they removed her from the life support, she lived a few years after that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's lots of documented cases where that happens, where you remove them from life support and they still live. But yeah, so I mean, because it's still that primitive part of the brain functioning that is controlling the ability of the heart to beat and all that stuff. But if you look it up, it's several cases like that. So you can conceivably live, because I think I did not hear him say she had no tubes, she had no food, she had nothing.
She had nothing. But like sister said, she was calling out Bobby's name. She was saying daddy. She was
that's what he said. That's what
he said.
Right. That's what he said. So is there a possibility that, because he's saying that they were saying to her, if you see the doctor who did whatever, nod your head, and she nodded. If you see this, whatever, nod your head, and she nodded twice. Like they were communicating back and forth with her. So is that possible too?
That's possible if she's not in that vegetative state. So when I heard all of that, and you know how you try to decipher it out, and I'm like, what? A lot of this is fiction. That's just my opinion. That's my personal opinion. I mean, if somebody could corroborate what that man is saying on that thing, because I was sitting up there thinking, yeah, it's calling daddy. I mean, because you do have people that, if you say blink, if you hear me, yes, blink once for yes, blink twice for no. We do have patients like that do that. But based on everything that we've read and heard, it just made me question whether he was embellishing a lot of that.
Okay.
And Sharon, can you speak to, like, when people are in their last stages of life, they always like towards the end, there's a lot of people that can get like that awakening where they kind of like come to, and then it's just for a brief moment, and then they like kind of slip away.
Yep, they do. They had this state. They had this. Well, we just had in our church, a husband and wife died just recently, and they do have that awakening. It's kind of eerie because like the eyes open, and the husband was glazed over, and he was breathing like 30 breaths per minute, and the hospice nurse said he's only breathing 30 breaths per minute. So you go visit his wife, he's in the nursing home, she's at home with a hospice nurse, and she literally can come in and say, we say, good afternoon, I won't call her name, how you doing, we came to pray for you, whatever, and she talks to us literally. Now this is recent now, y'all, like last week, talks to us, and then she just goes back kind of like, I guess, in that state. And the hospice nurse sitting with her said to us, she's only been breathing 30 breaths a minute, just like a husband.
Oh, wow.
And he passed on Monday and she passed on Wednesday.
Wow.
So some people do get that, it's like that awakening state, because she knew exactly who I was. And we prayed, my husband and I, we prayed for her and everything, and y'all, she just slid right on back to that state. That I don't know what you call that scientifically or even spiritually, but she did. So some people, you always hear people say, well, they got better, they were doing so much better, it's hard to believe they're gone.
Right, that they're gone.
It happens. It sure does. That's a true thing. I don't know the name of it, but it does happen. So I don't know in terms of, I can't say that I mean, for me, because I tend to be a little cynical, I just wonder who could corroborate what that doctor was saying, because I think he was blowing a bunch of steam. But the
I do
bull.
too. I want Bobbi to come out and confirm it.
Yeah.
Right.
Bobby
That's the
True
only
just
person
love.
I
released
would
that
believe at this point.
documentary May 30th, so we'll have to check it out.
You
Oh
think he'll
yeah.
talk about that? You think
I
he'll
don't
Well,
mention
they
know.
that?
showed him kissing a headstone, so I don't know what was up with that.
Right.
Wouldn't
But
put
now
too much
do I
into
believe
it.
Pat Houston is evil? And do I believe, oh my God, I believe she is evil personified. I do. And I think
Yeah.
she's a money hungry, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel bad. I'm like somebody, one of y'all said, Bobbi was her father. How come if he got 50 and Pat got 50, that the decision, I mean, who determined what? Did she have 51 and he had 49? What was that?
Right.
Right.
I don't know what was going on in that final meeting that the herbalist kept discussing about. Like, how was it that Pat was able to say, because well, he's okay, so this is what he said. The herbalist said that the CEO was like, well, honestly, it's not anyone's say unless you can persuade Pat to go ahead and agree to having the herbalist come in and do whatever he wants to do, because you guys both have 50-50. So my thing is, if one is saying yes and one is saying no, what's the tiebreaker?
That's what I've
True.
been saying.
I agree.
You
And then the
guys,
other part, huh?
so I just looked it up. So what Sharon was speaking to is sensory changes. So when someone is in their last stages of life, their sensory changes start to modulate. And one of the things they say is you can have hallucinations, illusions, but it's called a near-death awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they will regain function to speak. They may make
Mm-hmm.
noises,
Mm-hmm.
and fear for someone trying to hurt them.
Yep.
Well,
And
that would explain about why
yeah.
Pat came in and she was like, grunting hysterically at Pat Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Was she grunting because Pat was the person who did something to her? I'm just saying.
It
That
could
could
be,
be.
or it could be, that she knew that she was experiencing that near-death experience. And it's not for everyone, but they do say that this is something that is very usual for people that are dying. And sometimes you can misinterpret those sensory changes for something that they're not.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Tish said that her grandma lived like that for a month, that she was able to stay alive afterwards. She also said that she was non-responsive but awake. Then it looked like she was asleep and she wakes up and had movement. Sister said, well, it is on the internet, so someone from the family may contest or co-sign the story. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Sister, I hope that maybe Bobbi will be able to get, a little breath of this is sent to him, and maybe he might come out and say something about it. Jan said, usually if there is no agreement between the parties involved, the answer is no. There is no tiebreaker. Oh, okay. Thanks, Jan.
So that may have been the issue. They couldn't
maybe
agree. So
yeah.
yeah.
Shantae said the doctor's expert opinion will be the tiebreaker.
What's really sad to me is that so I would like to think, and I don't believe this for 1 minute, that Pat Houston genuinely loved Bobbi Kristina and had her best interests at heart. Because for me, if there is anything in the world that can be done to help my loved one, if they say they're gonna smoke some pot and blow it in her face, blow it. That's how I feel, And so for her to say no herbs or whatever because of the quality of life, I don't believe you cared what about Bobbi Kristina's quality of life. I think all you could think about was the money, period. And so, because that's what I didn't understand whether I don't want the herbalist doctor anywhere near me, but she's laying on her bed. Obviously, it's her deathbed. Why not? That's all I'm saying. Why not?
That's what I was
I
saying.
agree.
How come you wouldn't be like, okay, well, let's just give it a try, Bobbi. Let's see if it happens. But
what do we have to lose?
Puts her into a vegetation state or whatever, we're gonna stop the herbal stuff and we're just gonna let it take its course.
Right.
Yep.
It was interesting.
This, you guys, you know what? I'm always gonna be, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm always gonna be fascinated with this whole scenario with Bobbi Chris and Whitney, even Prince and Michael Jackson, because these deaths are just like unreal of how they all occurred. Like, you know, like I can't say these were fluke accidents in my own personal opinion. I can't say that. These, especially between Whitney and Bobbi Chris, like y'all died the same way. Y'all died the same way. So for me, I feel like that's a red flag. Foul play, foul on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like something else was going on. So
and the one dude that was present at both deaths ended up dying after the other one died. Like it just seemed it seemed too weird. It just didn't seem right.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
All of them died. Nick, the boyfriend brother, he died as well. Like it's just super crazy.
And we never heard about Nick. That's the other thing. We saw the shows that she did on, you know, we never heard about Nick until
what do you mean we never heard about him? What you didn't hear? Because he was trying, Bobbi took him to court and sued and won. Okay. He ended up saying, Bobbi also said that he still had Whitney's wedding ring, that he claims he don't know what happened to Whitney's wedding ring.
I'm saying we didn't hear about him when Whitney was alive, and you know, like we didn't hear about him much. It wasn't until Whitney died.
We did hear about him because he was doing, he was dating Bobbi Kristina. They were dating.
Well,
he was
I'm
around.
Trying to say before that, because after we found out, you know, after Whitney died, we found out that he had been like her son, living in her house, like her, they were living like brother and sister, him and Chrissy. And then all of a sudden, like after, like right before Whitney died or whatever, then they call themselves dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, you know.
And you know, we all knew that was not her damn brother. I don't care what nobody say. You moved that boy in. The only reason, and the reason why I know this is because the information ended up coming out. His mama kicked him out.
Right.
She kicked him out, and Whitney took him in.
Right.
Okay?
He
and
probably
Whitney
was the one going to get the drugs for Whitney.
He was out of control, and he was on drugs. So you
did y'all ever see that interview with him on Dr. Phil?
Yeah, it was multiple parts.
It was sad.
That
to
was
me.
horrible.
It was
I never saw it.
He was so troubled.
It's multiple
you have
parts.
to watch. It's multiple parts, and he was extremely troubled.
But I think he was also putting on a lot too.
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah, he was, Joy. He absolutely was. But I mean, but just when you looked at the dynamics of all of that, and I thought all of that was just like, it was like a tragic story. You couldn't make this up.
Yeah.
You couldn't make it up. It was so tragic, all of it. And that part of Bobbi Brown's life is gone forever.
Right. And when I said Whitney took him in, they were like brother and sister. Whitney was so-called raising him like her son.
Yes.
You know, not that they were, you know.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I don't know how she was raising him when he was, you know.
Well, he came to live with her, put it that way.
Right.
You know.
Because they were raising themselves, evidently. You
know
what I
mean? Yes, obviously, yes.
Raising themselves and helping themselves to each other.
And helping themselves, yep.
Right. So the chat say, let's see. Oh, wait. Sister said, if it was her daughter, Pat, would do everything possible. I'm sure of it. Yes, because they do have a daughter.
She was on that show. Y'all remember that? She was on the show, and they were trying to show her playing the piano and doing all this.
Yep, I remember that too. That's
trying to make her look like a little angel and make Bobbi Kristina
trying to
look like
give
a
her some
crackhead.
shine. Trying to give her some shine.
And we wasn't even here for it. We don't even remember that girl's name.
Nope.
Yeah.
Raina. Her name is Raina.
Raina.
Well,
of course.
You're the only one that know, Lisa.
No, Lisa.
Oh, geez.
Only Raina I know is from Power. Okay.
Oh, well. Cold-blooded. Just that, or just trying it to at least give her dad some comfort, right? So he can say he tried everything. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Sister said he was on Dr. Phil's. Shantae said we knew about Nick. Yeah, we did. And the family ain't like him, but we always heard about him. Yeah, the family did not like him at all.
Not in the. I don't feel like we heard about him till the very, very end. To me,
we talking about Nick. You talking about Nick?
Maybe I just wasn't as involved in that part, but I don't remember hearing much about him until things got bad.
Oh,
like with Whitney and then Bobbi Kristina. That's when I felt like
y'all
we started
okay. So
about
look,
him.
y'all don't remember the cracked out interview that they did together. So and I can't remember if I'm talking about Bobbi, Chris, and Nick. I don't remember, was Whitney dead or alive at that time? They caught them coming out of somewhere.
She was dead at that time.
Whitney was dead
at that time.
She was. I'm pretty sure she was. Yes.
Okay. Because I remember that cracked out interview, and I was just like, what the hell? I remember them meeting up with Bobbi, and Bobbi said he didn't like him either. He didn't like Nick. Nobody really liked him. They was up here she was up here wearing her mama's wedding ring that he proposed to her with. I'm like, that's not a proposal. That's a sterilization. But yeah, it was all weird. The whole dynamics was weird. So I don't know. This whole situation with the doctor and everything, like I said, I don't feel like he's telling untruth. I didn't get that, but yeah, I can say that I feel like he exaggerated a lot of it, and that he's doing it for promotional gain for his herbal stuff, because he had that sitting right there too. And in the last 30 minutes of the whole 2-hour interview, that's what he dispelled. That's what he went into it, telling you what this herbal regimen did, and what if you take this. Now, one thing I want to know, and I'm gonna pose it to the doctors here. So we got Dr. J, and then we also got Sharon, aka Sharon. She's also a nurse.
I'm an honorary doctor.
Honorary doctor. Tell me about turmeric. He said turmeric is the cure Beesnol to the Ezol.
Turmeric has a lot of benefits, and it's because there's a component within turmeric when it breaks down. It's called curcumin.
Yeah.
And curcumin has many healing properties from cancer and things like that. Here's the problem with trying to get it through turmeric. It's only when you get turmeric, curcumin is a component of turmeric. So the amount of turmeric you would have to consume is so high, right? So it has to be extracted and purified to get a high enough amount of curcumin to actually use it for medicinal purposes. The reason why we see, like in the Indian population, they don't experience a lot of the same issues that we do is because they eat curry for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Almost every day. All day. Yep.
Right?
You're right.
And then they also put it in a lot of their lotions, and so it's a part of their life. So this is why we see it for them. And this is the issue that I do have when we try to compare Western medicine to other cultures, is we're not set up that same way. So when we try to go and mimic what they're doing, it's honestly not good, because our lifestyle does not reflect that.
Right.
Even the type of curry or things that we're getting is not the same that they're using over there. The type of curry or turmeric that we get in a store is not the same quality that you could get over in India, or for that matter, even countries in Africa. Like Morocco consumes a lot of turmeric, but it's not the same quality that we get out of Publix and Piggly Wiggly.
Nope. Don't get it from Piggly Wiggly.
Please don't get it from Piggly Wiggly.
And so what Western medicine, and I hate we say Western medicine, but this is in Europe, this is in any major country. They use, scientists and things like that to try to harvest that portion out of the plant, and they, try to exacerbate the good qualities, and that's how you get medicine. Because we can't, even with herbs, like there's no way to normally, figure out what dosage you can use, because it all depends on the potency of the plant, how it was grown. This is why that crack stuff, that cryptochromolite stuff that people were talking about, like you don't know.
The cryptochromolite, what
the stuff that girl was using, and she looked like Death eating crackers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't remember the girl name.
Kratom.
Okay, whatever that is. Okay.
Oh my God.
So the problem, the problem with that is it comes from a plant. It's from a plant, right? But the problem with that is, depending on who grows it, the quality of the soil that they're grown in, the environment. There's so many factors that contribute to the potency of the herb that there's no way to measure the dosage. So I could take it and get one effect one day, take it again the second day and get a totally different response. There is no consistency in herbs. And this is why a lot of medicine, physicians in what we call standardized medicine don't believe in herbal, as a treatment, because it's not consistent.
And it's not regulated.
It's not regulated. So it makes it difficult to say this is what works, because our environment is changing every day. What they're getting over in Honduras is not what we're getting. The environment, the air is different, the soil's different, the water's different.
If y'all need to hook up, let me know.
Holla if you hear me.
But
Sister said the common denominators in the death of Whitney Christie was money and Pat. And let's not forget, it was Nick too. Nick was with both of them at the times of their death. Okay, at the time of their death.
I said something right with him.
Yeah, I didn't know that about him until Whitney died. Shantae said, nah, but it's beneficial to an extent. After a certain point, too much and turmeric will be counterproductive.
That's with any herb.
I was gonna say, I think that's the whole problem that I had when I was talking. I was doing my little rant.
That's any herb and any medicine.
And Sister said, I know turmeric did wonders on my jacked up knee.
My husband
says the
every day.
You said your husband take it every day?
Every day in his tea, every day. And I mean, I like Michelle said too. Well, we all know too much of anything is just not good, but he swears by it and he puts it in there and he says it helps with the arthritis. So
right.
Yeah, he does. I have a friend that worked for an Indian doctor and she had given us some turmeric. The Indian lady gave us turmeric, and she swears by it, and she says that, and so he uses it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he got it from the Indian lady. I'm sure it'll work.
Oh yeah,
you go to Piggly Wiggly, it's not gonna work.
Right,
seasoning.
But yeah, she does. See, and it's so funny because if somebody saw my thing, they would say, "Oh my gosh, she's on a lot of pills." I take a lot of vitamins and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
but I've been doing it for about 3 or 4 years, and you'd be hard pressed to find me with a cold or anything in years.
Right.
I believe that.
And I won't, and I just do it. I do it. I'm that girl that got sea moss and elderberry, you name it, I got it. And then somebody said to me, I have very expensive urine. I said, probably so, but guess what? I ain't sick.
GMP said exactly, our quality of herbs and such will never be as close as pure as India or other direct sources. The what Shantae, I must have missed something. Yeka says if you use it on a regular basis, you may see some benefits. And Shantae said, and turmeric can't be taken for extended periods of time. Yeah, it is an anti-inflammatory, so that makes sense. Yes. And GMP said, I'm in Northern California, Hoboken County. We are all about the herbs. We have a lot of natural organic farms here and of all types, mostly marijuana, but a lot of those marijuana farms have several other organics they grow. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm not against the herbalist, because I do use a lot of stuff like that. I just do. And I have been doing it for years and I ain't been sick, so I'm gonna stick with it.
I know that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I do. All right. All right. So this was a good all in all discussion, you guys. Let me just thank our panelists for coming in. We got JaRonn and Dr. J. We got Lisa, and we got Joy, Shawn, and of course Sharon, aka Sharon. I always say Sharon, but you know I love it.
It's okay. It's okay. I told you my father-in-law used to call me that.
I know you were saying that, but I don't know why, girl. I cannot. I'm not saying I cannot say Sharon. I just love Sharon.
It's okay. It really is. It's okay.
Thank you. And guys, let me tell y'all, I'm glad we were able to have this panel discussion. Is there anything else before we get ready to close out? Because I know we've been on here since 9. It's almost 11:30 here Eastern Standard Time. But did y'all have anything else y'all wanted to say in regards to the doctor, the prophet, whatever you want to call him, the church, doctor or whatever? Anything else y'all want to say in regards to him?
Yeah, if y'all gonna go get his products, use my code because I get a percentage.
What? You get a percentage?
Oh,
put your code in the chat, Joy. Joy, put your code in the chat, please.
What's your code, Joy?
Yeah, y'all know I'm just fucking with y'all.
And I just want to say hashtag Pat Houston is trash.
Yes, hashtag Pat Houston is trash.
I want to say that this should be a learning lesson for everybody. If you're watching this now, if you're watching on the replay on YouTube, whatever other place, if you have a family member that you know may be going through something, fight the hardest for them, because you don't know, you not fighting for them may be, their last hope in living. And that's what I get from this. Don't give up. Fight, do whatever you got to do to fight for them.
Right.
Even if y'all had a fallout or whatever, fight, because your fight may be the reason why they're still alive or why they stay alive.
Right. And I want to say something too about those decisions that were being made. And I know we, especially people of color, don't want to address this, but y'all, you need some durable power of attorneys for healthcare or living wills. You absolutely do. Because you cannot even believe the fights, the arguments, and everything that happens when when nobody wants to make the decision, or somebody is against a decision that's being made, and it tears families apart. So when you have those living wills and not power of attorney, durable power of attorney for healthcare decisions, where somebody can make the decision, it makes life so much easier. Because when you know that person's wishes, when you know their wishes and you swear to honor their wishes, then you don't have all that. And in that case, these were rich African American people. And all of that happened. And Pat Houston not only had that kind of control monetarily, but she had all the power and decision. And that young lady had a father that could not, and was a single woman that could not make any decisions because of the witch that had control.
No, say it. You heard.
I didn't say B word. I said witch, y'all. I stopped cussing.
He said,
girl,
let
the record reflect that any slipperization that you may default on, I'm here for that too.
Okay, but I did. I said
no, you did say witch.
You said witch.
I said woo, because we were in agreement. Like, I believe that.
I was thinking the other word, but I said witch.
Yes,
but
you did.
But we do. We really, this thing, a lot of times, and I tell people all the time, you need a living will or you need to get a durable and I'm not talking about the power of attorney for your finances. I'm talking, well, you need to do that too, but I'm talking about healthcare decisions, because you just never know.
And get it in writing and make sure, like, I have mine in a binder, and me and my husband had this conversation about this is what my wishes were. And it felt uncomfortable to have that conversation, but it had to happen, like it's not good to have all this money, live in nice cars and homes and stuff. And then when you die, we got to do a Cash App and a GoFundMe, or your family is in a hospital arguing because they don't know what to do with you.
And here's the deal. He who has the money make the decisions, baby. because and that's insurance and stuff included. But in terms of a living will, if you're admitted to the hospital, we have a questionnaire and we have to ask you by law, do you have one? And if you don't have one and you want to execute one, it can be done right there in your hospital admission.
Yep, because when I had my bunny removed last month, they asked me.
Yep.
And I had to and I had to tell them.
Yep.
Sure did.
And yep. So that's my 2 cents, y'all. Good night.
Hang on, y'all. Before we disclose,
okay,
we got some more chats in here. Okay, so Shantae said what was referring to what Dr. J was trying to say. Oh, okay, laughing my butt off. Okay, got my ass off.
Wait, what was I trying to say?
She was referring to kratom and she's saying the name. Lord have mercy.
Well. Let me tell you,
looking like Beetlejuice. I'm not gonna say the name because again, I'm telling y'all this is going on YouTube, ma'am. We're not gonna do that, but we will get into some other things. GMP said I'm talking about talking farmers market on every corner. Ha ha ha. The herbalist also made a point. This is Yeka. About eating processed foods like McDonald's that I agree with. Oh, okay. Did he say something about processed? He did. Okay.
He did. He talked about that. And I agree. I think McDonald's is not good, but I think the issue. Yeah, I agree.
Let the record reflect that we're not talking bad or down about McDonald's. What I would like to say is that we know that fast food is not healthy. Food is quick, fast food, okay? Which means that it's processed and it does not have a lot of nutrients that we need in order for our body to be healthy. So that I will say, okay? So we don't want nobody coming in here talking about we trying to down talk no fast food restaurants and stuff like that. Make your coins. We know what it is. If you like it, we love it, okay? And GMP said, I love you all. I love this little group. I always feel welcome and heard. It's nice. And fuck Pat Houston, hashtag. All right, we got that. Okay, thank you, Jen. Let's see, and then Yeka said, yes, Sharon, and GoFundMe is not life insurance.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. It is not. Okay. Michelle said, no, you good, Sharon. Fuck that clown ass bitch. SJP, a whole hoe in a D street. And sister said, fight before they get to the point that they are laying on a death bed. Fight before you see them going down the wrong path.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right, sister.
Said, Michelle said, GMP, soon as I have this, baby, I'm gonna take you up on your offer. She talked about her farmer's market. Okay. And don't forget, you guys, and I will post this out there. But we are going to have a discussion about NAY the LIE and these investments and stuff like that. As soon as I get these dates together, if you don't know about her, she is in the makeup world, and she started a sidebar group and started this big whole movement of
she pied us in
Miss Black Wall Street and coming together to organize investors into her ideas, and she's still out here in these streets. So we're going to get into that. If they have the option to sit up here and talk about Darius Cooks, aka Crooks, or whatever everybody keeps calling him, I really don't know the difference. Then we can get this movement started in regards to this, because we still, after 4 or 5 years or whatever investing, we have not heard not a doggone thing. Okay, not a thing, not a little thing, not a big thing, not an in thing, and not an out thing. We ain't heard diddly, right? Not a thing. So
that's right.
We will be getting into that. We've been posting the information on that as well, so you guys will be able to catch us on that, so that we can give you the tea and all the information we have in regards to that as well. The only thing I will say is we will not be discussing what it entailed on the back end, none of that, but we're going to talk about what was invested, what was being made, what was being done, and what has not been done. And plus, we ended up one of our group members, Shantae, found out some other information as well. Yeah.
And don't eat moringa seeds and mangoes as your only meal.
Thanks for that tip.
Okay, don't do that.
Either.
Don't do that, because then your hair gonna thin and fall out, and yeah, just don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. You heard? Don't do it. And if y'all some newbies out here looking into this makeup world, don't do that with Nay, the LIE either. Don't do that. Okay.
They'll say she's talking about all of it, you know. No holds barred.
It's a no holds barred situation, ma'am. This is what we do. This is what we do. What we not gonna do is, where's JaRonn? What we not gonna do, JaRonn? She ain't even in here.
Well,
Lord.
yeah, just take care of your health.
Shut down the curve.
Yeah, you just take. We're not gonna shut down the curve, but just take care of your health, and there's other ways to do it rather than that. Is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, you can eat mangoes, but I know that ain't going.
But you don't need to be eating mangoes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks.
And kryptonite.
And moringa and cutting moringa seeds and eating seeds. What the hell?
And chewing them with your 2 front teeth.
Right. Okay, I eat pumpkin seeds. That's it.
I'm done.
Then she's like chewing it with your 2 front teeth.
That's what I've heard that these people are doing out here.
I heard the same thing, Joy. Good night, y'all.
Yeah. Good night.
My panelists.
Beautiful.
Thank everybody for joining. Y'all have a good rest of y'all night. We up out of here. I'll see y'all.
Gotta go. My
chat.
patient calling. Bye-bye.